Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the channel. We talk about economics and crypto and lots of other fun things. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification button, comment in the comment section for the algorithm. But okay, without further ado, let's go ahead and dive on into this. I actually want to start out with Ethereum in this video, and I want you to hear it from me. Now, yes, this cycle has been Bitcoin dominated, and Bitcoin has been blowing everything else away. But Ethereum has now entered a territory where I am just comfortable holding Ethereum. There's two cryptos that I am comfortable holding, really. Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's other ones, sure. But like when it comes down to it, number one, Bitcoin, number two, Ethereum. And a lot of it has to do with just the things that I'm able to observe with accumulation, with network activity. And so Ethereum at 2,400 and change, where it is, at least when I'm making this video, that's fine. That's good. And I had an initial price target of $11,689. I have since deviated from that, but honestly, it wouldn't shock me to see Ethereum get above $10,000. Just gonna have to wait and see on that. So we have a little bit of this very brief thread here from Token Metrics. We have capital is rotating differently this cycle. ETH has seen less than half the inflows it's attracted last cycle, while Solana, XRP, BNB, and TON are seeing much larger inflows. But here's what everyone's missing. Ethereum weekly engagement is surging. So Ethereum weekly engagement, the number of unique addresses interacting with one or multiple chains in the Ethereum ecosystem in a given week. I'll even throw this out. I'm seeing a lot more from the people who have Telegram groups with tens of thousands of followers that they're just shilling random junk coins. A lot more of it is on Ethereum than what we've seen before. So it's really not that many Solana junk coins that they're shilling right now. It's a lot of Ethereum. And that's just one example, but interesting stuff to pay attention to. We have also active wallet addresses interacting with the network have drastically increased, signaling renewed interest despite lower direct ETH inflows. This could be the turning point for altcoins if Bitcoin starts losing dominance. Smart money might be rotating into Ethereum ecosystem plays while ETH itself remains, I missed that word, while ETH itself consolidates. And so, yes, you can see an outperformance of other cryptocurrencies, but wallet addresses interacting with the network have increased dramatically. And so with those two things in mind, what are ETH cryptos positioned for the next move? We have Syrup, Susty. I've never heard of Susty, TBTC. I'm assuming that's a Bitcoin, wrapped Bitcoin kind of thing. HSK and Fun. Honestly, the only one of these that I've ever heard of is Syrup. I talked about it in a video 2 days ago, and I own some for the first time after talking about it in that video 2 days ago. TVL for Syrup is off the charts insane. So here's a comparison that I just saw. Syrup is soon going to overtake Ondo in total money locked into its ecosystem. But Syrup's fully diluted valuation is 1/10 of that of Ondo. If it's between Syrup or Ondo, as far as the play that I think is a better play, zero doubt in my mind, it's Syrup. And believe me, I'm not being paid to talk about this. This is just my opinion. I really like high TVL cryptos, and Syrup has a lot of money locked in their ecosystem, especially in comparison to their market cap. Another thing that I'm just paying attention to with Ethereum, we have from Mega Bull Quinton here. Whales bought nearly 1 million ETH in one day, the largest daily buy since 2018. So it's not just one day here. You can see multiple days here of very heavy Ethereum ETH accumulation. And you compare that to December and January, not even close. And you compare that to when ETH for a brief time went under $1,400, we're in a different territory. I would say an exciting territory with ETH, and I think that bodes well for the entire altcoin market. We just got to be patient. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult, but It's the low volume, low liquidity summer in Northern Hemisphere months. We'll get there. So, Axel Adler, back to Bitcoin here. During each of the three major rallies, I talked about this, something like this, in a video from, I believe, 2 days ago. This is just something to pay attention to. Long-term holder accumulation, and then long-term holder accumulation getting up to a level to where all of a sudden the pressure, because they hold so much of the supply, that kind of pressure causes the price to go up, and short-term holders accumulate heavily while long-term holders distribute. That is the time. That's the time when Bitcoin pumps. So here we go. The first time this happened, wait, I didn't finish this. During each of the three major rallies, long-term holders consistently built up their positions before strong growth. The first time this happened was around 28K. The increase in long-term holder share relative to short-term holder over 1 to 2 months set the stage for a breakout to 60K. The second time, similar accumulation unfolded at 60K within the consolidation phase and provided the momentum for a rise to 100K. Today, at the 100K mark, we again see sustained growth in the long-term holder, short-term holder ratio. This accumulation phase could last 4 to 8 weeks, after which, by analogy with previous cycles, a powerful upward reversal is likely. If we apply a more conservative multiplier of 1.6x to the current price, the next rally target lies in the range of 160K. All right, I'm not saying that 160K is next, but all right, this is the thing that I want to point out to you. Like, all right, so we have when Bitcoin was at 28K, you can see a divergence there between long-term holders and short-term holders that then led to explosive price movement. But when Bitcoin rallied to 60K, you see significantly heavier short-term holder accumulation as long-term holders distribute. And what precedes that is heavy long-term holder accumulation, that miserable range in 2024, heavy long-term holder accumulation until it got to a point where it peaked. And then we rallied over $100,000. And here we are again. Heavy long-term holder accumulation. So the long-term holder supply is increasing, short-term holder supply is decreasing. It gets to a point of about 16 million, that the long-term holders would have about 16 million Bitcoin, where the pressure is just too great and that causes the price to rise. We're getting there. We're close. So just something to keep in mind. But now Bitcoin, another bullish post on Bitcoin, shocking. Caleb Franzen, I just shared this chart with premium members in Cubic Analytics, blah, 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 blah. Bitcoin's regression bull flag has a clear path to get us to $135,700 in the coming months. This also aligns with the 161.8% extension, or 1.618 at $131,000. Good luck. So is this, here's a question. Is this the next rung in the ladder? If you look at Bitcoin's price, this entire time, since the bear market bottom, we've just been taking a ladder higher. If this is the next rung in the ladder, then yes, $130,000 makes sense. If we were to enter some kind of parabola, then $135,000 is a little bit conservative. So whatever the case, I would not be shocked if we saw Bitcoin fairly soon. It's always difficult during the summer months, but fairly soon at $135,000. Let's move on. Another thing, a fractal here. So Bitcoin today compared with gold in 24 before it started its monster run. Interesting to say the least. Very, somewhat structurally similar. A bull flag. This is the same thing as the previous post. A bull flag forming from May until today. And you can see early 2024, a bull flag forming for gold before a breakout. Sorry, that was early 2024, before a breakout. So is something similar going to happen? It makes sense to me. Now, a few other things. I don't want to get to that yet. I'm going to save that for the end. Now, with the NASDAQ, with gold, with just some things to keep in mind with stocks. I know where I want to go now. So sorry, I usually organize that stuff earlier on. But NASDAQ monthly returns I found this interesting. NASDAQ seasonality in July is something else. So July is historically not a great month for Bitcoin. But look at what has historically been ahead of us for the NASDAQ in July. It's the most consistently green month. Now, oddly enough, 2024 was the only red month. But every other year, we've seen gains in the NASDAQ, even in 2022, which was a stock market bear market. And the NASDAQ rallied by 12.55%. And so I bring this up because the NASDAQ is flirting with its all-time high. The NASDAQ 100 has already hit a new all-time high. By the time you watch this, the NASDAQ might already be at an all-time high. So it seems likely to me that we're about to enter price discovery in the NASDAQ. I've shared just some thoughts on just general bullishness with the Nasdaq, but also not only with the Nasdaq, with the S&P 500, the Dow Jones. Hopefully, the Russell 2000 will join the party. Now, something of note: August through October isn't amazing historically. It's a mixed bag. September is always terrible. September is the worst month for Bitcoin. We have a saying from a Green Day song, right? Wake me up when September ends. But it is what it is. Usually we see green throughout the months, but hey, NASDAQ, July, good month. And a lot of stuff that I'm seeing seems to communicate, for Bitcoin at least, that Bitcoin is not going to have a typical July, especially post-halving. Bitcoin typically bottoms out in July. And it seems like maybe that's not going to be the case this time around. We'll have to wait and see. Gold ETF, Bitcoin ETF, DXY, a macro setup we haven't seen since the gold ETF launched in 2004. Bottom was year 2000. Now we've got the Bitcoin ETF and the DXY sitting at a similar inflection point. Interesting. So the DXY, so here's the comparison. In the 90s, you saw the DXY have periods of sharp moves higher. In the aughts, the DXY went lower. And, you could call that an ascending channel if you want. Here we are, since 2007, an ascending channel in the DXY. And this should have you now, are we going to lose this ascending channel now? Like right now? No guarantees, but this is a fascinating thing to consider. The entirety of Bitcoin's existence has been during this ascending channel in the DXY. So what happens with Bitcoin, you want to talk about super cycles or something like that? What happens with Bitcoin if we now lose this channel and make a move to the downside? Here's what happened with gold in the 2000s when the DXY went down. Gold and, what was launched in 2000, the GLD ETF, the spot gold ETF. Gold just went almost straight up. So will gold go straight up this time? I wouldn't be surprised. But will Bitcoin? Maybe kind of go straight up? We'll see. So what WTF is happening with people? This is guys, with stocks, it's an entirely different game. Just so you know, hold on. Find a good stock and buy and hold and never sell. Never. The gains that you can get just from diamond handing stocks, it is insane. And yet, what's happening right now is something far different. And I'm guilty of this too. I'm not, but I've bought several stocks that I intended holding for many years. So WTF is happening to people. Holding periods have been crashing. In 1960, it was 8 years, 1976 years, 1992 years, 2001 year. In 2020, it was within 5 to 9 months. During the bull, Bitcoin had corrections that lasted almost 6 months. Impatience can really ruin people. That's really interesting. Hold on, guys. And I want to show you an example from somebody who has held. So I've never seen this account before, but look. This is somebody who acquires, somebody who buys and holds. Triple or more on 10 holdings now. Uber looks poised to make it 11 soon. So this person just buys and holds. His total gain on Apple, 4,000%. On QBTS, 1,178%. And all these stocks he has just held. And Uber making it 11. So that's what happens. You know, just look at all-time charts with certain stocks. Like if you were alive in the 80s and you bought some stocks, some certain stocks, and you just held them, you'd be doing very well right now and outperforming inflation. So just keep that in mind. I am a fan of acquiring, just stacking, okay? Let's move on. Last one. So silver, very bullish on silver. And this chart really stuck out to me. So silver is approaching a record quarterly close, which could mark the beginning of a price discovery phase in my view. Mine too. The near-term setup looks particularly compelling right now. Other metals are starting to catch up to gold, despite many claiming that would never happen. In my experience investing in natural resources, these markets are deeply interconnected. One bull market often sets the stage for the next. This is likely one of the most broadly constructive macro environments for hard assets that I've seen. And here's silver price's 10-year rolling change. Major bull cycle in the 70s. Major bull cycle in the aughts and early 10s. And here we are, very similar, ramping up. May it be that this is what's ahead of us? I tend to think so. Where does that put silver? I don't know. $100 an ounce, maybe more than that. So there's something I've held on for dear life, and maybe it's because I bought the peak in 2011, $50 an ounce silver. This is something to just keep on your radar and understand that it moves a lot slower. So anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. I will most certainly be seeing you in another video. Peace.